Hi there, welcome to my ranching channel. Today I wanted to introduce you guys to my horses and cattle while I take my mare out to check on the herd, as well as explain a little about me. I am 22 years old and I aspire to make a living off of producing beef from start to finish. I was lucky enough to be born into a long line of cattle ranchers. My great-great-granddad started the homestead in 1887. Up until my dad, they had a cow-calf operation. When my dad was a kid, they would take the cattle up into the mountains during the summer and use the ranch to produce hay for the winter. My granddad unfortunately sold that permit and the cow herd, so when my dad took over, he transitioned to being a backgrounder instead. He would purchase calves over the winter time and run them on the summer pasture before selling them in the fall as yearlings. After doing this for about 30 years, he quit buying himself and is now running other ranchers' yearlings. And he's now mentoring me and teaching me everything I need to know to run the ranch. A lot of ranchers these days prefer to use side-by-sides and ATVs over horses, and while I totally understand that, and actually my dad is one of them, I personally feel that horses complete this lifestyle in a way, and this could just be because I'm a horse girl at heart, but I would much rather do things horseback when possible. Starting off is Dakota, my 2010 quarter-horse mare. My dad bought her for me when I was 12 years old, and she's been my main horse ever since. I grew up riding English actually, and I did little schooling shows here and there until I went off to college. While earning my degree in linguistics, I actually studied abroad in Korea, where I had planned to teach English in the future, and it was there that I realized ranching back home was what I truly wanted to do. I couldn't imagine myself living long-term anywhere else. When I got back to the US, I finished up my degree and bred Dakota to a stallion named Spookin' Up Dust, which resulted in Misty, my first homebred foal. Misty actually suffered from a septic hock a couple months back and had less than a 50% chance of making it, so we are very grateful that she is still with us. Now this is Quinn, my 2021 quarter horse mare. I bought her in April of 2024 as an unstarted 3-year-old. She was the first horse I started under saddle, and she's been an absolute pleasure to work with. And then there's Rory, my youngest. I bought her as a weanling in November of 2023. She's by Pharaoh out of a finest mare bred for dressage. She's still got a lot of growing to do, but I'm excited to see how she develops. My plan with her is to breed her and do a little bit of dressage, show jumping, and eventing just for fun. Nothing crazy.
Go. Okay.
My training goals with Quinn have mostly been to produce a horse that is really safe and trustworthy. I don't have many horses right now that are like that, but I'm trying to create one through Quinn. She really has the mindset of a beginner safe horse. She just needs more miles, but she's definitely more row than go, which I don't typically prefer, but it's really handy to have a horse like that around that you can trust with beginners. I used to predominantly ride in English saddles, which is kind of weird growing up on a cattle ranch and riding in English saddles, but it was really what I felt comfortable in. These days, I don't really touch my English saddles anymore. It just doesn't really make sense, I guess. But I probably will start again once I start Rory under saddle. I just need to probably buy a new saddle because the one I have is very much made for a quarter horseback. The angle is way too wide, but we'll see how she matures in the next year and maybe I can get it adjusted to fit her. We'll see. These cows and their calves belong to a neighbor rancher who actually owns the corrals that we shipped out of in my last video. He now owns a range permit for up in the mountains and runs much of his herd up there each summer. In the fall, once it starts to get cold, they come down in little groups on their own using specific roads and are put into various pastures, including ours, for a couple of months before being weaned. When this happens, the calves are shipped out and the mama cows are left for a little while longer. Unfortunately, this means a long few days of bawling cows and no sleep for us. As you'll notice, they don't let me get close at all before moving away, unlike my herd, who will let me get super close to them and not even bat an eye. This is likely due to anticipating the change that they know is coming and that they've experienced in years past. Rory always has to get a few laps in when I take Quinn out of the pen before coming down during our ride. I actually roached her mane about a month back because it was very matted, and since we're going into winter, it doesn't really matter. So hopefully by spring, it'll be a good length. This is Blue. He always loves to come along and watch as I ride Quinn. So now we're in the pasture with my heifers, except for the high-headed one running away. She was actually a heifer that kept jumping the fences, and she ended up jumping in with my heifers. But luckily the owner just came and picked her up, so we don't have to deal with her shenanigans anymore. Oh, okay. I don't. Okay. That was, good girl. Didn't have to do that, but okay. My first two cows were Renee and Daniela. I bottle raised Renee when I was young, and Daniela was her first calf that I had kept. Sadly, Renee passed away shortly after having a bull calf this year. She gave us about a decade's worth of calves, and she just had the sweetest soul. Daniela had also lost a calf a few days prior, so we were able to graft Renee's calf onto her. The calves must have been blocky and big-shouldered, as they have never had issues calving before. So we think it had something to do with the bull, and it has definitely taught me to be more careful when choosing bulls. I kept their calves from 2024, which are yearling heifers now, and will be bred either this fall or next summer. I also have 6 heifers that I bought in June of 2025. If you want to watch a video where I choose them out of a large group of heifers being prepared for the feedlot, I will link it down below. We AI'd them to a bull named GAR Home Run in July before putting them out with a cleanup bull, and are due to calve next spring. So there you have it. I plan to build my herd, and I will do this by keeping all the heifers and buying when it makes sense. I also plan to expand my little quarter horse breeding program and play around with breeding sport horses as well. On this channel, I want to cover a lot of what happens on your typical cattle ranch and show that it is possible to start small and build something that can create a living. I actually just ordered some lavalier mics, and soon I will be purchasing an action camera so that I can take you guys along with me more easily. I personally really love watching all of the ranching videos out there, all of the YouTubers who are either ranch hands or run their own cattle ranch. I don't know why, but there's just something about it that makes me so excited to be doing what I do. And while my dad has a wealth of knowledge about cattle, he never really did the cow-calf type stuff, so there's a lot that we both could learn, and I find all the videos about calving out and such to be not only helpful but quite entertaining. My favorite part about this process so far has probably been choosing a bull to AI my heifers to. Since I want to raise beef from start to finish and sell direct to consumer, I needed to focus on maternal and carcass traits as well as calving ease, since they are all first-time heifers. If the prices of live cattle stayed this strong, it wouldn't really make a huge difference selling direct to consumer, but since it probably won't stay like this forever, I want to focus on something that I can depend on. The hardest part about selling direct to consumer is actually getting them into a butcher, as there are very little to choose from and they get booked out far in advance. This, as I understand, is thanks to the 4 big meat packers, but we won't get into that in this video. So really nothing is set in stone, and we'll just have to experiment and see what works best. The last thing I wanted to touch on is grass-finished versus grain-finished beef. I know it's a very controversial topic, and I'm not so sure where I stand on it yet. Some people claim that there's no health benefits to grass-finished, and grain-finished is the only beef that tastes good. And then there are people who love grass-finished and, claim all the health benefits. And quite simply, I need to do more research. I believe that there are a lot of various factors that can influence beef, such as, the age they were butchered at, the time of year, the grass that they were eating, and also genetics play a huge role. So, a lot of people could just have tried some beef that didn't turn out very good because there was a missing factor there. And so I really want to have a reliable system that produces healthy, delicious beef. And if you guys have any input, please leave it down below in the comments. I am very curious of what other people have found works and their opinions on different types of ways to finish cattle. Thank you so much for watching this far. Please like and subscribe. It would really help my channel out, and I hope to see you in my next video.